Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a time to talk about parks again here at Miami Community Newspapers. I'm Heather Tedlow, the Interpretive Nature Coordinator within the Miami-Dade County Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces Eco Adventures Unit. I'm joined today by Robbie Carmona, the Park Manager of Crandon Park, and we're here to talk about parks and everything that's great about parks. We just wrapped up Parks and Recreation Month in July, but I want to remind you all that every day is Parks and Recreation Day. So come out to our parks, enjoy them, and say hi to the great park professionals that help keep your parks clean, maintained, and ready for you to enjoy. So, Robbie, you're the manager of Crandon Park. Tell us a little bit about Crandon Park.
Well, Crandon Park is one of our heritage parks. It's was the original site of the zoo. It's got a lot of history, 2 miles worth of beach, a lot of nature preserve area. So it's one of my favorite places to be on in the planet.
It's one of my favorite places, one of my favorite parks in our system. Definitely a beautiful park. People love to go to Crandon Park primarily because it's a beach park. And this time of year, we're seeing a sort of visitor that people aren't necessarily happy with, and that is sargassum. So, can you tell me about when sargassum, we can expect sargassum on our beaches and what exactly that is?
Well, sargassum seaweed is a seaweed and algae that forms out in the Caribbean Sea, out in the Atlantic, and it floats in to the beaches all around the Caribbean basin, including ours, including Miami Beach and Crandon Park. Seaweed season is March through October. Um, and that's usually when the winds come in from the east around this time, little heavy winds, so that gets pushed onto the shores.
Perfect. And then we have a flyer that we have posted out on our beaches to educate the public a little bit more about what sargassum seaweed is. Can we put that flyer up now, please? So, where exactly does it come from? You mentioned it blows in, but where exactly does the sargassum seaweed come from?
The Central Atlantic and the Sargasso Sea, or the Sargasso Sea is named after it, or it's named after the Sargasso Sea. It just forms out there. Something um, recently in the last 10 years, something's going out in the ocean that it's favorable conditions for it to bloom, and then as these blooms grow, they float on the surface, and again, the winds blow it into our shores.
Perfect. And then there is an overflow on our beaches, so we're seeing it accumulate a lot more. And is this seaweed toxic? Should we be worried about it being out on our beaches?
No, the seaweed's not toxic. Some people that have breathing conditions may react to it because sometimes it does get a little smelly, a little stinky, but it's not toxic at all. And that's just the smell of decay. I always kid with my kids. Sometimes nature doesn't smell good. Sometimes it doesn't smell pretty. Um, and that's one of it. It smells a little rotten, eggy with
So
it.
we shouldn't panic because it's organic.
That's a very true statement there. Not to
Perfect.
worry.
And is it important? I mean, it's sort of a hassle for us. We don't like walking through it. It tends to be a little smelly, like you mentioned. Sometimes it accumulates in big sheets, and people don't like stepping on it because it's a little bit uncomfortable to step on. But is it important to the local ecosystem?
Absolutely. It's what helps build the beach back. Sand moves, and that's one thing that our beaches are very dynamic. They're always moving. Sand is always blowing. The wind blows sand, and the plants are accustomed to it. Gets sandblasted daily. So the beach itself is dynamic, and as that sand leaves, new sand has to be created. New sand has to be replaced, and the seaweed, as it breaks down is a big component of our sand, so it is important for the seaweed. It's how nature builds back our beach.
Not only does it, I think, build back our beach, which is a very important reason why it plays an important role in helping keep our beaches healthy, but I believe also it's important for the animals that utilize our beaches, our coastal residents, such as shorebirds that utilize that wash up, which we call the rack line, to feed. So there's feeding that happens there. And also it's important for our sea turtle population, especially right now during hatchling season. So let's talk a little bit about that. Are we seeing sea turtle nests on Crandon Park Beach this year?
Yes, absolutely. We see a great number of nests throughout the county, including Crandon Park. We got a few nests on the beach right now. And as you said, the all animals use the seaweed. there's a entire habitat on that lives in and around the seaweed, both in the water and back on shore. In the water, you can find sargassum crabs, shrimp, sargassum fish, mahi mahi go in there to fish and to hide out, and even sea turtles. Once they make it out into the water, they'll go into the Sargasso Sea. They will go and just live among the floating rack out there. And then once it makes it inside, the shorebirds you mentioned, they feed off of the little sargassum shrimp, and they're fueling up for their migration, which is about to start. And so sargassum is a big important part of this ecosystem.
So even though we might find it a little bit unnerving, annoying, it is an important component of our local ecosystems, and we should help conserve it to an extent, but we do have to maintain the beach to make it pleasurable for tourists as well as residents that want to utilize the beach as well. And interestingly enough, during sargassum season, which is March through October, it's also sea turtle nesting season. So the two sort of go hand in hand. So that's important. We do have a video on sea turtles and sea turtle nesting. If we could put that up and share that now.
And I'm with the Miami-Dade County Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces Sea Turtle Conservation Program. We monitor about 19 miles of beach within all of Miami-Dade County. We look for new nests. Once we find a new nest, we monitor it throughout its incubation period until it hatches. And then once it hatches, we conduct hatch success evaluations on it. So whenever a nest hatches, we call it a boil. The entire clutch of eggs, or the entire nest, they typically hatch all at once. And the way they get out of the nest is they use what we call an elevator effect. They crawl and they help each other. So when they all start to crawl up out of the sand, that kind of pushes that sand to the bottom, which kind of then pushes them out of the top of the sand. Once they reach the surface, you may find them, or you might see them kind of just taking a breather there at the top, because that's a lot of work for them. So they might kind of catch their breath before they make their way to the ocean. One nest will typically have between 80 and 120 eggs in it. And then once that nest hatches and they make it to the water, that survival rate typically is between 1 in 1,000 to maturity. So sea turtles are what we call a keystone species. So they are native to this area. They're very important. Without sea turtles, our ecosystems break down and a lot of other things kind of snowball effect from that point. So we have 3 different species of sea turtles that nest in Miami-Dade County. The most prominent species of sea turtle is the Loggerhead Sea Turtle. About 95% of our nests are loggerheads. One way that people can get involved to help protect sea turtles is to, when you're at the beach, knock your sand castles over at the end of the day, fill in your holes that you dig. Pick up any trash that might be out on here. I always like to say, leave a place cleaner than what you find it. You can also, if you live on the beach, you can also turn your lights off at night. Sea turtles instinctively will crawl towards the brightest horizon, and artificial lighting will make them crawl the wrong direction. So when they come across a turtle nest, we ask that you do not disturb it, do not walk through the nest. We have our stakes set up, and we have that pink flagging tape up for a reason. It's there to keep you out. Once those eggs are deposited in the ground, that is then federally protected ground. Our program here in Miami-Dade County has been around since the 80s. We have surveyed every single year since then. Our nesting season runs from May 1st through October 31st, at which our surveyors are out here every single day. So if you find a sick, injured, or dead sea turtle or hatchling, we ask that you give our program a call. We have a 24-hour e-line. If for some reason you can't get a hold of us, please call the FWC Wildlife Alert Hotline. I love my job because I get to be out here every day. I get to help protect an endangered species. Sea turtles are a really cool and fascinating species. If you don't know much about them, I recommend doing a little bit of research and start to learn about them, because they are a very, very fascinating creature.
There's some jazz going on. Thank you. So you can see how important our sea turtles are to us, and how important the rackline is to sea turtles, or the sargassum is to sea turtles. So thanks for putting up that video. Again, if you all of the work done with sea turtles here in Miami-Dade County is done through a permit with FWC. So if you walk across an injured sea turtle, or you see a sea turtle in distress, or you see any hatchlings or any boils, please do not touch the sea turtles or engage with those sea turtles. Use those hotlines and those phone numbers that Laura mentioned in the video to contact FWC or our sea turtle conservation team, and they will assess the situation because they are permitted to serve sea turtles. So we talked a little bit about how the sargassum is important for the marine life and how it's a little bit of a detriment or not so much a pleasurable thing to us. So what do you do on our beaches to help make it a more pleasurable experience for visitors to the beach?
Well, after the sea turtle team does their survey, as mentioned in the video, we go on after they say you're turtle free, you're not going to hurt any turtles, we're done working for the day. We go out there, and the state allows us to integrate some of that seaweed back into the sand, so we can bury it only within a few inches from the surface. We work on the wet sand, so anything dry on the dry sand, that on your rack line was the high tide line. So we work, wet of the rack line. We work towards the water, and we can bury some of it there. We reintegrate it, and in the certain hot spots that we have, that's where we have to remove the excess that we just can't handle with it. So we'll remove that from the beach.
And then what do you do with that excess sargassum?
Right now it's shipped to a holding facility down south. We are working with partners at the University of Miami, FIU, to conduct some studies to see what, can it be used for fertilizer? What can we do with it as it breaks down? So we're hoping to, continue our cycle of being green and coming up with green solutions to this excess sargassum issue.
Perfect. And then going back to talking a little bit about Crandon Park, you mentioned that Crandon Park has a deep history within our county. And I know that there's possibly coming up a special event or anniversary that Crandon will be celebrating soon.
Yes, we're coming up on our 75th anniversary. The park opened to the public in November of 75 years ago. Help me with my math. But 75 years ago. And we've been serving the public ever since. Crandon Park was a gift from the Matheson family to the people of Dade County. And we strive very hard to maintain that the gift is used by the people of Dade County and its visitors. By maintaining the beaches, maintaining the gardens, all of its historic treasures, including the carousel. It's got a 1939 carousel from the Herschel Allen Company, so we maintain that. It's a lot of responsibility, but we take that gift with a lot of pressure. We love what we do. So we make sure that we're ready to go for the people of Dade County.
And not only does Crandon Park have a beautiful beach, and I think that's what lots of people, when they think of Crandon Park, at least when I think of Crandon Park, I think of going to the beach and enjoying Crandon Park Beach. But there's also a lot of other great amenities at the park for the public to access and enjoy. What are some of those things?
We have the Nature Center, where you can interact with sea creatures from the local beaches there. We have the marina, the golf course, tennis center. I mentioned our carousel and our amusement area. We are implementing we're going to be building a brand new playground, and it'll be a big playground. So we hope to attract a lot of kids and a lot of having smiling and playful faces on the playground and splash pad area. So we are going to be seeing a lot of improvements to the facility soon. And of course, my favorite is on the marina side, the bay side. You have all the mangroves and all the wonderful nature on the bay side as well.
I mean, that's one of my favorite things too, visiting the bay side, visiting our mangroves, just reiterating the importance of our coastal ecosystems, our mangroves. That's why we have Crandon Park under our purview to help, and the Bureaucrat Preserve, which is also part of Crandon Park, which we preserve as pristine coastal habitat. Again, the coastal protections that mangroves provide, which are first defense, one of the lines of defense when it comes to extreme storm events and hurricanes, buffers for wind, and also prevents erosion. So all of our coastal ecosystems play a very important role in protecting us and keeping our county resilient, which is something to be proud of, that Crandon Park helps to conserve some of these green spaces and in turn helps protect us with services that lots of the community doesn't know our parks provide. So it's important. Definitely one of the treasures that I like at Crandon Park is the Bureaucrat Preserve, which is pristine, again, coastal habitat, which includes mangroves, maritime hammock that is accessible to the public, where the public can walk through these areas and explore and learn more about these natural areas with some of our naturalists that are housed out of the Crandon Park Nature Center. So I definitely encourage people to come out and check out the Nature Center and the north side of Crandon Park, where all these wonderful little hidden gems, I wouldn't say they're hidden gems, but these gems are conserved for the public. There are also some changes. I know at Crandon Park, it's a paid parking area where when the public comes, there's a parking and you pay for it. And there's some changes coming to our parking and our coastal parks and our marinas. Can you talk about that a little bit? I think we have a flyer for that as well.
Yes, parking now to be more COVID friendly and reduce the number of touch points and the people touching machines. We'll be removing the pay stations and going to a fully digital pay by phone application. So the removal starts this week. Starting today, they'll be removing some of the pay stations, and we'll be moving all digitally on the pay by phone app. So parking will be done from your phone from now on, paying for parking.
And then for maybe not local visitors, that would be the same for non-local visitors as well.
Yes, the pay by phone application will be the way to pay for parking at our facilities.
And just as we're talking about removing some touch points within our parks when in regards to COVID, this is just a friendly reminder for everyone to let you know some changes that have happened when it comes to county facilities. All visitors to county facilities and county buildings are going to be required to wear a mask when entering. So if you're going to visit any county facility, please bring your patients and bring your mask with you. We encourage social distancing, continue to follow your hand sanitizing and your sanitizing routines and disinfection. And, as always, the best protection for you and your family, it's your choice, is to get the vaccine. There's still shots available. They've increased the hours of vaccination sites and testing sites around the county. So let's do our part and stay healthy. Miami-Dade County, get your shot, mask up, and do all the things that we need to do to help keep us healthy and safe. We're still in a pandemic and we can't forget our safety and let our guard down. We want to keep our family and friends safe as possible. Moving forward into some exciting programs that are happening this week in our parks. Again, any of our park programs can be found in ParkLink, which is our point of sales website for Miami-Dade County Parks, which is miamidadeparks.com. This Saturday, August 7th, we have a Volunteer Eagle Action Day at Bill Sadowski Park from 9 to 12 noon. We have a clear kayak adventure at Crandon Park. Great opportunity to explore the Bureaucrat Preserve, mangroves, seagrasses, critters, all through Crandon Park. And that's happening this Saturday from 9 to 11:30 a.m. on clear kayaks. So you basically can look down and see the underwater world below you. We have an introduction to archery program at 80 Barnes Park Nature Center from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then this Sunday, we have our Sunset and Moonlight Bay Cruise that goes out of Crandon Park as well. And that's a great program. It's a 3-hour boat tour of the bay. And you go around Crandon Park, around Miami Beach, down the Miami River. You learn about the history of Miami and some of our natural resources here in Miami-Dade County. It's a great program happening this Sunday evening out of Crandon Park Marina. So that is what we have going on this weekend. We also have our coastal cleanups. We have beach cleanups happening right now out of all of our marinas and our coastal parks. You want to talk a little bit about that for people that might be interested in participating in that?
Sure. For more information on all of our coastal cleanups, including the ones that we do at Crandon Park, which we do on the second Saturday and the fourth or the last Sunday of the month, we run coastal cleanups at Crandon. You can check out Parklink at miami-dadeparks.com and click on their volunteer opportunities, and they're all there listed at all of our coastal parks, including marinas. Even Crandon Tennis has a day you can go volunteer there for cleaning up around the little green space. Yeah. It's got a mangrove little outline of it because it's abuts the bay. So check Parklink, and all the opportunities are there.
Perfect. And then it's important to talk about why doing coastal cleanups within our department is so important. And one of the reasons, especially now when we're seeing the Sargassum wash up, we're also seeing an increase of marine debris wash up as well. And it's a great educational opportunity for the community to come out and sort of see the impacts of what we have on our environment, including our coastal environments. And I think really when people come out and volunteer at one of our coastal cleanups at one of our sites and really picks up the amount of pollution and really focuses on what's going on, I think that turns a light bulb on and makes you realize, the impacts that you have on a daily on the environment. And then you think about some ways that you can help reduce your impacts and make our environment and our local community healthier and better. So I think it's really important that people come out and participate in one of our coastal cleanups. We also we'll be participating as we do every year, an international coastal cleanup at Crandon Park, which is an international event that really focuses on cleaning our coastlines. And with that, that's more of a citizen science-based cleanup where you download an app called CleanSwell, and our participants actually document all of the marine debris that they're picking up off of the beach. And a lot of times when I'm working with guests or volunteers out on our beaches, there's a big focus on picking up big, large pieces of debris. But in reality, I always challenge people to take a closer look and really focus on the smaller pieces of debris or microplastics. And I know you can attest to this. I think that's the bigger problem versus the larger pieces of trash, which are obviously unsightly and not healthy. But microplastics are very detrimental. And do I want to touch a little bit on microplastics and the harm that microplastics cause?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're 100% correct about getting involved. It's one of my favorite things about this job is after a cleanup or even during my daily routine, picking stuff up off the trash, keeping it out of the nature and out of the pristine habitats. It makes me feel like I've contributed today. So definitely volunteering is 100%, go for it. Microplastics, as you say, it's when the bigger stuff breaks down. So if we don't get to it, or if it's out to sea for a very long time and it breaks down into tinier and tinier pieces, those pieces get eaten up by organisms, and then you get the toxic buildup of plastic in their organism, in their system, and then other fish will eat those smaller organisms, eat the smaller fish, and it's just that plastic goes up into the food chain. So it's not good having all this extra plastic in the environment. And like you said, on our beaches, the plastic as it breaks down gets intermixed in the sand. So if you shuffle the sand a little bit, you'll find teeny tiny pieces of plastic, of this microplastic, and that's as important of getting it out of the ecosystem than the big chunks of plastic and other debris. But plastic in our oceans, we need to help in all ways to remove it. You're absolutely right.
So on our second Saturday cleanup at Crandon Park, we do a citizen science-based cleanup at the Nature Center. And we're finding that the most prevalent type of plastics that we're picking up off our beaches are microplastics. So we're keeping a database of all that we're cleaning up. So we know what kinds of plastics and, where maybe hopefully determining where they're coming from or how to make an impact in helping to keep our environment clean. If you're interested in international coastal cleanup, there are a wide variety of sites all throughout the county that you can register to volunteer for international coastal cleanup. As I mentioned, Crandon Park is a host site for international coastal cleanup, so we're more than happy to have you there. But you can go to volunteercleanup.org, and there will be a list of sites for international coastal cleanup that you can sign up for. International coastal cleanup this year is on Saturday, September 18th. And that's when all around the world, people are going to be participating in cleanups and downloading that CleanSwell app and logging all the marine debris picking that we are taking off of our beaches. Also coming up, which Crandon Park is also a host site for as well, is Bonanza 2021, which we had to postpone due to the pandemic, but we're excited that Bonanza's back and we're able to get out there and do some cleanup for Bonanza. Bonanza is on Saturday, November 9th. And Crandon Park is also a host site for Bonanza. So there's lots of opportunities. There's International Coastal Cleanup, monthly coastal cleanups. Bonanza, it's come clean up our beaches. Come help sea turtles and shorebirds and keeping our coastal habitats clean and helping us stay resilient and sustainable and healthy as a county. So in closing, I definitely think you guys should check out our park link where we have our wide variety list of programs ready for you, which is miami-dadeparks.com. We have our volunteer opportunities. We have fall programming coming up and gearing up. So our after school programs are going to start opening up for registration soon. We've got great fall programs within the Eco Adventures unit and within Daring Estate that you guys can sign up for. And you can unlock the magic and wonder of parks at miami-dadeparks.com, which is ParkLink. You want to close us out? Have anything exciting to add, Robbie?
Well, like you said earlier, come out, help maintain the beaches, help clean up, get that microplastic off our shores. Sea turtle season is in swing, so they are hatching now, and seaweed season is also in swing. So you can also, like we mentioned earlier, it's not toxic, so you can definitely pick it up and play with it. Like I said, there's shrimp and crab in there, so it's a good way to entertain yourself while laying on the beach. See if you pull up any of these critters. And
I do it.
Yeah, I do.
I do it.
I still do it. It's one of my favorite things to do. See what I get. But join us at Crandon Park and at all our parks. We'll see you soon.
And then, you know what comes after sea turtle season?
What's that?
Manatee season. So there's always a fun, exciting coastal critter making their way around our beaches and coastlines here in Miami-Dade County. So stay on the lookout for our threatened and endangered sea turtles and manatees and help keep our coastlines clean. And thanks for watching and learning about the wonders of parks and all the wonderful things of parks can do for you.